What's up, guys? It's Rick Ginn. It is Friday evening, and it's that time. So I'm going to give a little disclosure for today's start today. I'm in South Florida. We have a huge thunder cell coming in. So if it cuts off, I'll reboot and jump back on. So it's like pitch blackout. So if the power goes off, it's not me. It's not you. It's the weather. It is what it is. Worst case scenario, I'll come back on later. But so now that we have a live stream, hopefully the connection stays. Today, we are having tons of fun. We're learning all about how to master driving for dollars. Guys, I love driving for dollars. And unless you're like living on another planet, if you didn't get the news tick on the economy today, it's bad. It's actually much worse than we ever anticipated in it. It's not if we're going to go in a recession, it's we are in a recession. The question is how long and how deep is it going to go? So if you are new to the channel, my name is Rick Ginn. I am the Rick and Flip with Rick. You guys know my son, Zach. We have a 7-figure wholesaling operation, and we love what we do, and we do wholesaling so we can live the life that we want. So if you have an interest or someone said, hey, dude, you got to check these guys out. Number one, we are wholesalers. It's what we do. It's what I'm best at. And really, it is the best method to get started in real estate to earn a large cash flow and minimize your risk. So if that sounds exciting, do me a favor. The best way to communicate with us and stay up with us is number one, subscribe. If you subscribe and hit that notification bell, you'll know when we go live. So it is June 10th. I guess I screwed up the date earlier this week. Or it was last week. It's June 10th, 5:02 p.m. Eastern time. I just want to make sure you understand we are live. I'm not live in the comments. I'm live with you. So I am the only person here behind the camera. So I appreciate you guys coming on today. So subscribe. And what we'll do is we do a little teaching segment in the beginning. And we're going to go through driving for dollars. Now, guys, don't overlook this. I'm telling you, today in our business, we still use this as one of our number one lead generation tools. And with the meltdown of our economy and with real estate about to shift, this one's probably going to be becoming one of the most valuable ways to get really highly motivated sellers. So, and do me a favor. If you like the content or you love the content, you can do one of those, what are they? I don't know how people, my daughter does it like that. You do the heart, or you give me a like. I really appreciate it. It helps get the content out to more people. And once again, if you're brand new to our channel and you've never seen us before, we offer the best wholesaling course out there available. And the really cool thing is it's all for free. So go to freewholesaling.com. There's no reason you guys should be stuck with paying outrageous prices to learn a basic concept like wholesaling. We're in a new age today. If you want to learn from people on how they did it 20 years ago, go buy their course. If you want the best up-to-date content with 25 years experience from a father-son team, you get it right here. So without further ado, it looks like we are going to keep electricity on, and that is really, really good news. But you guys know what I say. When we do wholesaling, let me get my remote here. You got to do it with enthusiasm and joy. You got to have fun. Life is short. I find way too many times when we try to teach these business skill sets, it gets boring. And you know what happens when it gets boring? You fall asleep and you don't learn, you don't pay attention. So you got to have fun in life. You got to wake up. Guys, take this attitude when you go wholesaling, and let's do it.
Get the fuck out of bed, bitch. Go. Get up, and they got go. Time to wake up, bitch. Get up. Get up. Get up.
So guys, that's our theme song. We like to have fun. It's our Fitbit guy. And I'm serious. Like, we got to make this fun. So today is all about dad. It's Rick. And I've been doing wholesaling for 20 years. And I am super excited about what's about to happen to the market. Now, listen, I don't want anyone to suffer. I wish we could just shoot through the roof forever, but economies naturally have to cycle. Otherwise, they won't work. So, what's happening with, if, unless you've fallen off the earth, inflation expectations was much higher. The actual inflation, the CPI number is higher. All the numbers across the board don't look good, and the stock market has dropped. Now, I'm here to tell you, people are like, well, real estate's still fine. You're right. I just sold a deal last night that still got bidded up $12,000 above the retail price. Why? Because I was in a low price point. I was well below the average median price, and I'm focusing on cash buyers. So on the other end of the spectrum, the retail and stuff, I'm talking on the higher end stuff, anything that needs a mortgage, they are going to struggle. And I'm telling you, your creative financing, it's coming. It's not quite here, but once the public gets the general consensus that real estate is not going to go up anymore, and it's probably going to go sideways, and then hopefully eventually down a little bit, and we get more of a balanced mark, you are going to have opportunities galore. I'm telling you, I went through this from basically late 2008 to 2011. And it felt like doom and gloom the first year I did it. But after that, it was probably the best 10 years I've ever had wholesaling in my life. So that's all really, really good information and good news for you. The question is, here's what you have to do during this time, guys, is you have to get ultra focused. Okay. Now's when all the bells and whistles are going to fall to the wayside, and you got to work with people that actually do this business. They love this business and they are committed to it. And if you can find yourself to align with someone like that, you will do very well. You're going to see all these people been selling courses these last 10 years with no checks and balances. They're going to struggle to sell them. Why on the earth would you guys buy all these courses when I'm telling you, you just have to find motivated sellers? Right now, going forward, I've been doing this for the last 2 months, actually 3 months. I only buy property from highly motivated sellers right now. There's no slight speculation. I don't even care what's going to be worth down in the future unless there is a value add or some sort of opportunity with motivation. Do not buy real estate. A lot of people in the last 10 years have cheated the system. You buy close to retail, you get a little bit more, and they did it over and over, probably 10 or 20 times. Those people are about to get destroyed in this business. So without further ado, I'm going to jump into our training here. And guys, pay attention at the end. Everybody who's on hold there, if you guys want to do a live one-on-one, I take everybody in order. So I see Toy, I see Victoria, I see Alexandra. I'm here. So if you just want to hang out, I promise you, unless I lose power, I will try to remember you when it goes on there. So without further ado, and guys, in the comment sections, if you want to say what market you're in, if you guys want to talk amongst yourselves, remember, we want to be creative. We want to help people out, and we are focused on wholesaling. So however anybody can help out, that would be great. So how do you get on the live? So if you've got to be subscribed to our channels, the YouTube Flip with Rick Ginn, Zach Ginn, that helps us out a lot. And then if you go to Wholesaling Houses for Real, you're approved in there. There's a link on the top, and you just click that link, Wholesaling Houses for Real, in the Facebook group, and you can join the live. Okay, guys, we do lives 3 times a week. So it's really cool. So the idea is to help everybody out. And yes, I don't charge a dime to do this, but guys, bring good questions. I want to help you out, because if you have a question, everybody else has a question, and I want to help as many people possible. So let me get this off and let's jump into it. So without further ado, guys, hold on. Let me put, it's a little bit better. Okay. So driving for dollars. A lot of people like, well, Rick, what is this driving for dollars? I want you to understand the driving for dollars. If I did not have a budget to do marketing, meaning I basically had gas money and I'm utilizing the free wholesaling.com training, The fastest way to get to a motivated seller is go find a house that has a problem. How do you do that? This is kind of a no-brainer. You get in your car and you go to your local, whatever market that you want to attack. So you want to stay at or below the median average price in the area that you want to buy. Hopefully it's locally. And you're going to go find properties that have issues. They're going to show signs of them. And if you do this, the only money you're going to put it is your time and the money in your gas tank. Okay. Yes, it's a little bit of pain in the butt, but it's not that big of a deal. I can go out and collect 100, 150 leads within an hour and a half. We do it all the time. Guys, I did this for 5 years. I nonstop driving for dollars. It's cheap. It's effective. It works. Is it sexy? No, it's not. So pay attention while you're out there. Listen to your favorite podcasts, something educational, hopefully something that inspires you, and get those addresses. As opposed, you can go out and buy a 10,000 list. You can skip trace that entire list. You can cold call it. I'm telling you guys, that's thousands and thousands of dollars. I'm giving you today a cheat sheet of how to beat every other realtor, wholesaler, I don't care, subject to person. Every time I buy a property and we get like a monster deal, I look around, the garage is caved in. There's a blue tarp on it, has high grass. I've probably driven by the property a half dozen times. And if I just noted the address down, I probably could have done a deal for almost zero marketing dollars. And that's what I want to teach you today. So yes, this is more of a sweat equity play, but guys, even when I had tons of funds to do my marketing in my company, I still used driving for dollars and do to this day. So let's get into it. Okay. What is driving for dollars? We're going to do a step-by-step breakdown of how to use driving for dollars for massive wholesale retail profits. The reason is you're finding the ugliest, the most tired houses right off the bat. And these people ideally should have the most motivation. Okay. So what is the definition of driving for dollars? It's just a process in which you drive around any neighborhood you choose. It can be local, it can be virtual, and you look for distressed properties and efforts to contact these owners first for a wholesale deal. Remember, if nobody else is contacting him and you're the one who makes the effort to it, you probably have the best shot in getting the deal. So what are the tools needed for driving for dollars? Guys, this is really basic, but you've got to understand this, okay? As long as you have a valid driver's license, I think you're highly qualified for this, but we're not even going to stop there. Car is the most efficient method, but I've had people do it on a bike. If you're a runner like me and you're a really fast runner, you got good running shoes, put your running shoes on, take a 5-10 mile run, do it early in the morning, and you're going to have to find a way to write down when you drive by these houses. Or guys, if you go on long walks, like I walk in the neighborhood where I live, and I'm constantly looking for something changing. And this is how driving for dollars works. So rule number one, if you have a car that works, but if not, be creative. You guys are smart. And if you're willing to do a deal, you'll get it done. The next one is do not complicate this. Okay. Right here, guys. Yellow pad and a pen and paper. Honestly, it's the only requirement I have when doing it. So I did it off a yellow pad forever, for 5 years. I'm still a yellow pad junkie. No, I'm not a lawyer, but I like to write stuff down. Now, is it the most efficient way? Probably not. I'll be brutally honest with you. I'm old school, but I'm telling you, if you're going to use any type of technology, just make sure you got a backup pen and pad in your car. Okay. Now, if you have a cell phone, which is 80% of you on this live, then you're good to go. It'll have a camera built into it. The cell phone helps out a lot. I'm not going to lie to you, but honestly, I did this for a very, very long time. I used to have one of those like really brick phones. I'm showing my age now. And I only called if I was going to get mugged in the car. So, and I stopped marketing in those neighborhoods, but in the beginning, I did whatever I had to do to get a deal on wholesaling. So, guys, if you have a camera, it helps. It's got the camera in it. You can make notes on it if you want. One of the most powerful tools you can do is, I don't care if you have an iPhone or an Android, is when you're driving, you'll be surprised. You always have to be looking around for address and stuff. And sometimes you can just record the address when you drive by. And hopefully you got hundreds of recordings. And then when you get back, you can take dictation. They even have software of like OCR that will recognize, I guess, translate it and transcribe it, but I don't know how to do that, so I'm not the guy to do that. That's more of a Zach thing. Okay. So what are we looking for? Okay. Guys, you're simply looking for properties with signs of distress. You're looking for distressed property. If you're going to ask me what a distressed property is, I'm going to break it down for you. Okay. Number one, my favorite and most predominant one is high grass. Why? Because most people don't purposely not mow their lawn. They're usually not mowing their lawn because they have either they don't have the money to do it or they have a more pressing problem in life. We've all had them. And this is the number one high grass by far. If you're in the Southeast, it's much more predominant. Up in the north, when you get up there, I mean, you got 6 months out of the year where they don't even mow the grass. So it's not as prominent. But I would assume sometimes shoveled driveways don't get shoveled for 3 months. They look rough, or roofs. I don't know how that works up north. But we also look for dead grass. A lot of dead grass is an indicator that something could be going wrong. But I have neighborhoods where they're all dead grass, so it's no big deal because they have no irrigation. And then lack of landscaping. What do I mean by that? Trees overgrowing, a big oak tree overtaking a house. No one's cleaning it off. Guys, normal people don't let their houses go in distress. They know it devalues the house, and they know it's going to cost them. So people don't do this on purpose. Just life gets in the way. And remember, our job is to help people out as much as possible. We're not here to judge them. Okay. The next common one, this is a big thing in the South. Blue tarps on the roof means you got a leaky roof. Leaky roofs are problematic. And if you see a blue tarp and it's all weathered and it's not blue anymore, it's turned like almost grayish. You know what I'm talking about? Those are really, really primed to work with a wholesaler like you and me. Okay. And guys, this is a big one. Excessive deferred maintenance, meaning just look at the property. If you see like wood hanging down on the soffit, shingles are falling off, the property's in severe need of painting, the siding's all cracking. It's common sense. When people don't take care of a house, leave a house vacant for 1 year in any market, and I promise you, it will fall apart. Houses need attention, they need love, and most thing they need is maintenance. Okay. Now, here's a little secret one I'm going to tell you about here. The missing mailbox receptacle, one of my favorite ones. You know why it's so important? Because a lot of times the mailbox has fallen off and it's rotted off the I guess, what do they call that? The post. Okay. It's rotted. It has like wood rot in it, falls. The mail falls down. Guess what? They're not even getting the mail. So all those wholesalers out there mailing to that person, they're not getting legal notices. They're getting nothing. Only a driving for dollar person can help that person out. And that's one of my favorite ways to do driving for dollars. You find a knockdown mail receptacle, and I promise you, if you can get in contact with them, you have a great chance of doing a wholesale deal with them. Okay. And the other one is like stacks of newspapers. If you see stuff stacked up on the door, I don't suggest you open in people's mailbox, but every now and then, if you see a mailbox open and you see it crammed with junk mail, that means they're not answering the mail. Or also you'll see a green sticker in there that says vacant house by the Postal Service. Don't touch it. But if you see it, that's a great sign that the property needs a wholesaler like really bad. So guys, this makes sense. I'm telling you, the missing mailbox, it's huge. I don't know why, but some of my best deals have come without a mailbox. Think about it. They don't get the mail. They don't get anything. It works. Okay. So guys, I'm seeing your comments. I will get to them as I get through this presentation. And let's see. Hold on, guys. I got to fix. Okay. Where was I? Stacks of newspaper on the door. And guys, boarded up windows. That's a big one. It's we get a lot of boarded up windows. And then in Florida and like the Southeast, sometimes people leave their hurricane shutters up for well past hurricane season. That usually indicates the house is going to be vacant or they got a broken window they don't want to fix. So let's see here. Okay. And then the other one is look for signs of long-term vacant properties. So Like if you go buy a house and it looks like it's been vacant forever, like there's never been a car there, nobody's ever opened the mailbox, nobody's ever walked into the door, then that's a good sign. I would definitely put them on your list. Okay. So here's the question I get most often about driving for dollars. How often and how many driving for dollar leads do I need to get a deal? All very good questions. So number one, you have to set the frequency you do in driving for dollars. Okay. This isn't rocket science, guys. The longer you do driving for dollars, meaning the more times you do it, the more leads you're going to get and the better you're going to do it. So you got to go out at least once a week. If you're new to this business, don't be surprised to do it 2, 3, 4 times. I've seen people really, really make this work and it works well. You got to do it. So, I can't fix that. Okay. The next one. How many leads, Rick, before I get a wholesale deal? Now, some of it's going to be based on your experience, but I will tell you this. On average, you're going to need at least 150 to have a shot to get a deal. I can tell you right now, in some parts it's less, in some parts it's more, but between 100 and 200 lies the number every time. That's why I picked 150. So if you want to get 2 quality leads a week, you're going to have to do driving for dollars. I would recommend twice a week, or go once a week and go twice as long and hit 2 different sets of neighborhoods and come back with at least 150 each setting. Remember, guys, the more quantity you have, the more opportunity you have. And in the beginning, you're just trying to figure things out. You've got to have quantity to make up a little bit for your skill set. But remember, we're looking for highly motivated sellers. If someone's motivated, I promise you, you will know right away. You don't have to sell them. They just want help. So guys, if you haven't connected with this guy, Corey, this guy constantly does driving for dollars. He hasn't even been wholesaling that long. I believe under 6 months. He did the whole thing off freewholesaling.com, but he puts the work in. If you guys will put in the work, he predominantly uses driving for dollars. That's his starting vehicle. He'll add to it as he goes on. And I'm trying to give you the stuff that doesn't cost you a lot of money, that will get you in the game and put money in your bank account. Okay. So remember, at least once a week, at least 150 a week, go from there. I'm setting bare minimums. I don't think anybody on this live stream is here to do the bare minimum, and it works. This is the reason why we share it. You're not going to find this in like the super sexy courses, because it's honestly, when they give you their 30,000 view overview of wholesaling, they're going to go tell you to do all the stuff, but they're not going to give you any specific numbers. They're going to tell you to get in a car and do it. I'm giving you it away right here. Okay. So driving for dollars lead intake. I'm going to quickly go through this. I'm trying to keep this as simple as possible. So simply record the address, write it down. If you want to put it in your phone, if you want to take a picture, I'm not going to tell you how to organize it. I do it on a yellow pad. Decide how you want to do it from there. You then want to take that information when you get back home and you want to put it in a spreadsheet. I like Google Docs because you can share it. If you're working with someone else, or you need some help with it, or you have a VA down the road, it is very valuable that you can share the doc. The problem with an Excel spreadsheet is you got to save it every time. Honestly, you can do a Google Doc sheet on your phone while you're on the road. I'm not that skilled, so I'm kind of old school. I just kind of write it down. Okay. Now, you're going to have a section there. Obviously, you're going to put in the property address, the city, all that good stuff. Just have a little note section in there. So like when you see blue tarp, put like blue tarp. You can use code. You can use cheat sheets. So blue tarp, put BT, high grass, HG. Just make it simple as possible. And I can't stress this to you enough. You got to use the KISS method. And no, I don't want to give you a kiss. Keep it simple, stupid. I'm referring to myself. The easier you make it, the better you'll do. So use these 4 checklists when you create your driving for dollars and manage it the best of your ability. If you don't like writing on a notepad and you want to do it all on your phone, that's great. Use some sort of spreadsheet like a Google Docs or something like that. Do not make this overly complicated. It is not complicated. I find people in the last 4 years, actually 4 years, I've never seen people complicate driving for dollars so much in my life. Guys, it's a simple school. You get in your car, you get your running shoes, you get on your bike, you find beat up houses, you write down the address, and you get in contact with the owner. That's what I call simplicity. Okay. Now I'm going to give you a warning. I've talked about coachflation here before. You know what coachflation is? It's when you have too many coaches chasing too few wholesaling students, and they all compete on price. What used to cost $10,000 or $20,000 for wholesaling is down on sale between $2,000 and $3,000 now, and you're still not going to get information nearly as good as you get on freewholesaling.com. I'm here to tell you, our free stuff's better than 99% of the paid stuff out there. I'm talking about in the wholesaling space. Why? Because I've done this for 20 years. You just can't reinvent the wheel in this. Everyone's gotten so cute in the last 4 or 5 years. Oh, skip trace 30,000 people and do this, and you'll do. Guys, there's a limit to scaling in wholesaling. Like, that's the crazy secret. I just want to get you to make your first 100 grand. So many people skip the journey from 0 to 100,000, and then they try to do this crazy scaling. You got to master the 100K. Once you do the 100K, then you can step up your game. So I don't want to overstep on that. So someone's going to try, I guarantee you, when you get off this live and you start searching, someone's going to try to sell you on a Driving for Dollars course. Now, I'm not calling anybody out or any personally, but I'm just telling you, if someone's willing to pay thousands of dollars for a Driving for Dollars course, you are going to be giving up a lot of money in the next year learning wholesaling. Guys, get in your car, find distressed properties, and contact these owners. I'm going to give you a few more detailed steps to do it, but I'm here to tell you, do not buy a Driving for Dollars course. It's been around forever. Nobody has rights to it. It's very basic and simple. I've seen Driving for Dollars courses out there. I saw one as high as, I think, $3,500. And honestly, I'm in shock. So if you go to freewholesaling.com, we teach you in more detail. And I actually shot a video, and we go through exactly what to look through. I shot it from the car, so it's like really detailed. Guys, it's free. Please do not pay somebody for a skill. Honestly, you could go learn this at the DMV. So don't do it. So if not, go over to freewholesaling.com. I'm warning you, coachflation's real. And if you get sucked in on this stuff, I just don't get it. I'm fine if somebody will sell a course, but please don't sell a course just on Driving for Dollars. It's like, I'm going to leave it at that. I'm going to move on because I can get in trouble here. Okay. So don't get cute with technology. And you know what I mean, where I'm going with this. You don't need it. I've never, ever used technology. The most technology you use is this right here, your phone. Okay. That's the highest piece of technology you need. So many corporations are out there going, listen, I have this incredible app that's going to make your Driving for Dollars so proficient. It's going to be so easy. I'm here to tell you guys, why do you think I do not offer any of these products, me and Zach do? Because we've tried them. They just didn't do anything more for us. It felt good, but it didn't make me any more money. And I was paying them hundreds of dollars. I'm like, are we doing any more business? No, kill it. I'm done. Okay. So I'm not going to call them out. There's multiple ones. Just so you know, if you guys use Batch, they actually have one built in, I believe, and you don't have to go out and buy it. Since I like their other products, I'm not crazy about the whole like Driving for Dollars or thing, but if I was going to use one, I would definitely use, I would just stick to Batch. So if you have an account with them, just don't go out and buy it just for Batch. It doesn't make sense. So I'll show that later so you guys can get an idea of how that works. So guys, all these apps and stuff, they are not going to buy the house for you. They're not going to make you a successful wholesaler. If you wanted to use someone to do Driving for Dollars, then there's an argument for that. But honestly, until you get your first 100 grand, don't bother doing it. It's not going to make you any more money. I'm just going to save you the hassle. Anybody will sell you a solution for anything in this market. It's crazy. Okay. So how do we research the Driving for Dollars leads? So you've gone out, you've gotten your list. Okay. You wrote it down, you put it in your phone, whatever you did. So the next thing is you got to skip tracing. So if you guys never heard of skip tracing, it's just a fancy word for looking up someone's contact information, particularly their phone number. Okay. So once you get their phone number, so Rick, how do I get their phone number? If you're going to do this manually and you don't have a big budget, True People Search, White Pages, Spokio's a low-end search. I think it's 10 or 20 bucks now. Those are the free ways to do it. They'll give you multiple phone numbers, and you want to look up the property owner. So before you do this, what you want to do is you can cross-reference the address with the property appraiser site. I think I put it on the bottom of the slide. I screwed up. I apologize. The paid services, if you guys want to use like Batch or any of these other services, it's up to you. Batch is probably one of the better ones. Use a skip trace service. It's going to cost you 10 to 14 cents, depending on what level or what service you use. It's really good if you have like 500 leads and you don't have time and you don't want to do it manually. Just make sure you account for it in your budget. Okay. So there's a paid version and there's a free. You guys decide how you want to do that. Depends on what your budget and your time frame is. Okay. You cross-reference your local property appraisers. You get the owner's name. You can see if they live there locally, if they live out of town. You can find out a lot. You can find out when they bought the property. And you guys want to add this to your spreadsheet. Okay. And guys, this is where like down the road, if you want to hire a VA, they can do a lot of this stuff for you. That's why you want to use like a Google Doc sheet. It works really, really well. So, and the really cool thing is a lot of VAs for $3 to $4 an hour will do this while you're sleeping at night. So in the morning, you got all the information. They cross-reference, they skip trace for you. And then it's just up to you. Just go dialing for dollars when you do it. Okay. So now we've driven for dollars. We've written down the address. We've done our research. Now you have to pick your marketing method for driving for dollars. Okay. I'm going to go through them all. You kind of choose which one you want to do. Whichever one resonates with you, it's completely up to you. If you guys have any suggestions of any other ways, the old days was we used to go door knock them. This is how I got started a lot. A different world back then. No ring doorbells. People were a little bit nicer. People were used to people selling their stuff at the door. Fast forward now, 2023, ring doorbells, vicious dogs, and nobody wants anybody at their front door anymore. So it used to be a real treat. Like when I was a kid growing up, it was a treat when people came to your house. I think it's the opposite now. Like, who's at the door? So door knocking's a lot tougher. I save door knocking for like a last resort. Okay. Because do you know in one of the markets I do here, door knocking can get you arrested. You actually have to go to court and you can be handcuffed for it. It's ridiculous. Ask me how I know. Okay. So I don't want to put anybody in a position, just make sure it's safe to do that. And the only time you do it is during the day. And I would have somebody there to keep an eye on you. The next one's cold calling. That's simply taking the owner's information, particularly their phone number, and just reaching out to them and talking to them. Guys, do not complicate this. I've been over this 1,000 times. Go to freewholesaling.com. I'll teach you word for word what to say, but you're simply looking to see if they're the owner of the property and if they're interested in selling. Because a lot of them are going to say no. And for that fact is you don't want to waste time spending all this time with people that don't want to do business. Find the ones that want to work with you and spend the most time with them. Okay. Now there's no particular order in here. I've done them all. Okay. The next one's direct mail. The old days, we used to hand address an envelope, stick a letter in there, write a note, and actually got a pretty good response rate. It's just slow. And honestly, it's probably my least favorite method to do it, but sometimes these are valuable. Okay. The last one, which is probably the most popular going on the market, is called the reverse driving for dollars method. If you're not familiar, this is where you want to pay attention. And I'd like to tell you, I came up with this exclusively, but I've worked with people in multiple markets, and we tried this 4 years ago, and it worked really, really well. And it's a really, really cool method. So let me show you how it works. Okay. So reverse driving for dollars is you're going to go and get your government list. So earlier this week, what was it? I think it was Tuesday or Wednesday. I think it was day 8. So go to day 8. It'll be in freewholesaling.com. We teach you how to pull government lists. They're 100% free. You guys can get them. There is no barriers to entry here. Remember, you're going to have to be persistent because there's a lot of resistance out there. And I explained why. So you have to understand that part. It used to be much easier. It's getting a little bit more challenging. Get your government list. And I do like them somewhat in this order. Maybe I'd move water shutoffs above tax delinquencies, but code violations, pre-foreclosures, foreclosures, tax delinquencies, water shutoffs. These are dynamite lists. If you can get that list, okay, and you get addresses. Now, here's the challenging part. You have to map out how to do this. Now, you can simply canvas a neighborhood and do the reverse driving for dollar method, or you can pick a particular list and go car by car to do this. So first step in reverse driving for dollars is locating your list and putting it together. Okay. Guys, don't worry. This is recorded. You can refer back to it 1,000 times. Just go to our YouTube channel. It'll be right there. Okay. Guys, real simple. You're going to create a sticky note. Use yellow, use purple. I find yellow works the best. And basically, you put it on there. Now, guys, you can make a stamp. You can handwrite this. You can even have a printer do it for you. I wouldn't spend a lot of money. I have a quick question about your house. It's Rick. Put a phone number on there. And listen, place them on the doors you want, or canvas an entire neighborhood of maybe somewhere you want to buy. And then here's the deal. You're going to get inbound calls. And you ready for this? People are going to call you. So people are like, okay, what's the callback rate doing this? Depends on your list. So it can be anywhere from 2 to 5% callback rate. So you're going to have to do and reverse engineer your numbers. So you can't just put out 10 sticky notes and expect 50 phone calls. It's not going to work that way. Here's the big difference maker. When they call, you actually have to answer the phone. So I'd use a Google voice number. I would use a virtual phone number like Bumber.com. Find anyone you want. They're everywhere. And when they call, just answer it like a regular person. Don't be a fancy business. And just say, listen, somebody left a note on my door. Are you Rick? Yeah. You got a second? I got a couple questions about the house. And you just go into it. Are you the owner of the house? Are you interested in selling it? And if that all goes well, go through your 4 qualifying questions. Remember, condition, time frame, price, and motivation. And now I do motivation first. I just kind of put them all in order there. If you guys go to freewholesaling.com, we teach the whole thing in much, much more detail. So anyways, place on doors, answer the phones. Guys, the reverse driving for dollar method works really well. Ask Corey, ask people doing this. It works well. You know why? Because if I had 50 addresses or 100 addresses put out there, if I knock on every one of those doors, try to have a conversation with everyone, and understanding 95% of them don't want me there, then why not just deal with the 5% that want you there? And what's better than they just call you? And people always go, well, Rick, what if somebody like catches me putting the sticker on the door? Well, let me switch here. Who cares? So one of 2 ways can happen. If they go, listen, I got this sticker on my door. Are you the guys who put it there? I go, yeah, I just put it there. Hey, do you guys actually buy houses? And that's when you go, yeah, I can talk to you about it. I'm just the guy who puts the stickers on the door, but I can take your information. The other way is if they chew you out and they tear you up and go, listen, I'm just delivering the message here. I work for somebody. And it's true. Just be gracious of people's private property and respect it. Don't try to shove it down their mouth. Remember, you are not here to convince people to sell their house. You're here to help them out. So with that being said, that is our driving for dollars, guys. People so overlook this method and it works well. In an economy where things are going backwards, I was in Home Depot today. Don't ask me why I was there. I think I had to get an air filter or something. Dude, it was dead. You could have dropped the pin there. The contractors are not showing up anymore. The wood's stacking up. The price is dropping on lumber. Like they are well overstocked on everything. I'm just telling you, people do not fix up their houses when the budget tightens. And with interest rates going up, the economy going up, you can't refinance your house. And I'm telling you, some high-paying jobs are going to be going out the door because companies are scrambling to figure out how to make money for the rest of this year and all of 2023. Guys, you are in the perfect storm for wholesaling. I mean, it could not be better than this. And I've always talked about subject to. I like to take subject to when you had a long run of low interest rates and then you have prices dropping is the perfect market for subject to, because what is their alternative? And if they really want to get out and they can't afford the debt on it, then it is great for any type of creative financing. Guys, if you're going to get started in real estate investing, my strongest advice to you is figure out wholesaling first. You can figure it out fast, you can figure it out quick, and you can put money in your pocket and then you can expand. If you think you can go do creative financing because you think wholesaling is hard, then creative financing is going to be just as hard. Remember, creative financing only works if you make money with it. So if you're going to put down $20,000, $30,000 and only get 10 grand on your end buyer, you're in the whole 20 grand. You can have whatever guru spin it, whatever they want. That's the only, you've got to be in a positive cash flow, especially in a backwards market. So that being said, let me just check some questions here and I will start working left to right and I'm going to help everybody out. Okay. So guys, this isn't just me. So David says, I almost gave up $5,000 for a driving for dollars courses. Thank God he says LOL because I feel it's my duty to prevent this insanity going on in the market. By the way, this cream puff stuff's over. You guys got to be smart with your wallets. Okay. Like, I don't even like want to spend money in this. Like I spend money in this economy, but I'm not like stupid. Like I'm always living like I believe winners here and we need to prepare for it. I believe the greatest opportunity in real estate is going to be over the next 18 months, probably 24. The writing's on the wall, guys. Like in my area, properties, the properties above the median price are not moving anymore. The low end stuff moves very fast. And I know that, but I'm telling you, $5,000 for driving for dollars. I mean, thank God David did not make that. Like, that's insanity. I mean, remember, I just taught you in 15 minutes how to do it for free from 20 years experience. I'm telling you, there's nothing more they can teach you. What happens is they get you in there and then they're going to sell you some sort of app. And like, I get it. Like they get a kickback on it, but like the app's it's not good. Trust me, it's not good. If it's not on my show, it's not good. I try everything out. If it doesn't work and I can't test it for 6 months to a year, you guys don't see it. The last thing I want to do is burn anybody on this live and sell them crap because it's going to come back. You're going to get pissed at me and Zach, and it's not worth our reputation to do that. So, I like PropStream. We use Batch. You know the mailing company I use. Like these are people I've done a lot of business with, and I trust them. And by the way, I pay every one of those services. So yes, I do get something on like affiliate sales, but I provide the training and it's the same price for you guys anyways, if you bought it with or without me. So thank God David got saved. Anybody else want to tell me they got saved without naming who tried to sell them on that? Guys, these gurus are going to go hard in the paint on their sales staff because I promise you, sales are going to drop and this needs to happen. There's been a reckless abandon for 10 years and I'm here. The day of reckoning is here. So, let's see here. Awesome. Okay, cool. Okay, let's jump on here. Alexandra, you there?
Hey, how are you?
Hey, man. Let me. How you doing, man?
Good. How are you, sir?
I'm staying dry, man. Where you at?
Georgia.
Georgia.
North.
What part of Georgia?
Very north, border with North Carolina.
How's the weather there today?
Oh, amazing. It's actually not too hot, not too cold. It was pretty good for Georgia. But
I don't think we've talked before, have we?
no, I've been commenting a couple times on lives and stuff like that, but no.
Awesome.
First time, yeah.
Okay, so what can I help you out with today?
First and foremost, I want to say thank you for everything you guys doing for the community. You're killing those gurus. Thank you for that.
Dude, I like, don't you think, Lo, like the world's changed in how you consume information, though? It's like, it's insanity that we're talking like this. Like I click a button, you're sitting in your place, I'm sitting in mine. And I'm just telling you, there's so much information out there. And here's the crazy part. A lot of you guys think the paid information's like you're safe. It's actually probably the most dangerous information you can get out there.
Right.
And I just tell people, like in the old days, I go, you better start vetting the people that you're paying to do this. I'm simple. I'm humble. I've been doing this a long time. Dude, the way you see me now, I ain't changing, dude. I've done this a long time. I do well, but I can do a lot better. And like where I'm striving to get, I'm trying to bring you guys up behind me.
Right.
And I focus on big fat deals. Zach runs, the wholesale operation. So I love it. And I like one of my favorite things to do is go on appointment and talk to sellers. Zach goes, I don't
Okay.
know what's wrong with you. I go, I just enjoy it. It's like a challenge. It's not even about the money for me anymore. If I can help people out and help my family out at the same time, it's a huge win. Like we did 4 deals this week. I don't sit here and go, oh, I do 15. Who gives a crap how many deals you do a month? If you do one deal and you make 100 grand, you're a rock star. Like, I don't care. Like it's this, we got to stop bragging about like, I do X amount of, when someone tells you they do 15 deals, it's like the standard number now.
Right.
So what if you made 2 grand a deal? Like, I'm not impressed. That's crazy. So I just want to get the truth out there, get the information out. And, I'm just transparent. So what can I help you out with today, man?
So I'm working with a partner, a friend. He's my friend, and in Florida. So the
Okay.
central side of it, I would say, mostly close to uh, Orlando. And my
Not
question
too
was,
far from me.
right, yeah.
Okay. What's up?
So if I'm the the seller signing a contract, do I add my friend's name on a contract, or we're making a different JV contract? How does that work?
Okay. So what's your arrangement with this friend? Like, are you guys partnering up on stuff or is he handling one side of the business for you?
So mostly he's my hands and feet there, basically.
Okay. So he's your boots on the ground type of deal.
Yes, yeah.
Okay. So does he go on physical appointments?
Well, we just started,
Okay.
and he's gonna go to the to get the what do you call them, uh violations. He's gonna go. He called them, and he didn't let him have it, of course,
Of
as usual.
course.
Yeah, and
Okay.
he's gonna go over there in person. Yeah, for now. So
Okay.
that's the
So kind of redefine your question so I can help you out and everybody understands if they have a question too online.
right. So whenever, I mean, we're gonna split everything because
Okay.
you're gonna be partners, and it's not just like
Okay.
I'm paying him like a fee
I got it.
or
I got it.
right.
50-50 partners, right?
Right. So basically, kind of JVing, but
Okay.
we just like we're friends, not just make a contract with someone I don't know. I know him personally. So how would I go about it? How does that work?
Okay. So, number one is, I mean, do you trust this person?
Yeah, I've known
Okay.
him like 3 years now.
Okay. Are you guys committed to doing wholesaling?
Yeah,
Okay.
I say more me than him, but yeah.
Here's my recommendation. So when you first started wholesaling, you don't have to overcomplicate like legal structure, stuff like that.
Hmm.
If he got a deal tonight,
Hmm.
okay,
Hmm.
and the seller goes, I'm ready to go. Like everything hit all the boxes. Like, holy moly, this is a great deal. What would you do? He's standing right there. He's like, dude, Alexander, I got this guy. He's all in. The house is run down. He's moved out. It's like he says if we don't do a deal, then he's going to call someone else. How are you
Oh,
going to write
just
that contract?
the way it is, like on my name, because I
Okay.
fill it up. Yeah.
So, guys, I want you to understand. As long as you have an assignable contract, you can fix that.
Okay.
Okay. It's like, so I've had people tell me on this is like, I went to the appointment, everything was right. I didn't have an LLC set up. So I waited till Tuesday to meet with my lawyer accountant. And it
Mhm.
was like a week went by and the guy sold the property to somebody else. So don't ever let the deal structure of a wholesaling thing stop you from getting started in wholesaling. It's actually a procrastination tool. And it doesn't work. As
Right.
long as you have an assignable contract, guys, you can open up an LLC up till the day you close. And keep in mind, if you're doing an assignment of contract, in theory, not intent, in theory, you're not actually technically going to own the property. Now, you do have liability for putting your name on the contract, and you got to know that going into it. Okay. Here's the good news is you can open up an LLC anywhere you want. I kind of recommend doing it in the state where you do most of the business because it's a little bit more transparent. But an LLC typically costs you between 100 and 150 bucks to set up.
Right.
Okay. If I were going to do that, you just basically have a general LLC and you would own 50% of the shares. He would own 50% of the shares. You call it a company. You get an articles of incorporation, which all the kits are done for you, and you open up a bank account. That's it. So, and then what happens if the LLC made $200,000, you would get $100,000. He gets $100,000. It washes through your personal taxes, and based on your taxable bracket, that's how you guys get taxed on it.
Okay.
Okay. And you got to file some other forms with it. I'm not an accountant here to teach you. That's really the best way to do it if you can do it with a partner. But I'm here to tell you guys on like partnerships, I'm just going to give you the skinny. The easiest way to get rid of your friend is become a partner with them. And I'm being brutally honest. Like it's tough. So
Right.
is he married?
No. No.
Are you married?
Yes.
Okay. So there's a lot of factors that come into it. And like people don't understand that. Like wives have say in this stuff.
Mhm.
Ask me how I know. I'm married 25 years. It's just, you got to know who you're going in. I
Right.
always recommend in the beginning, if it sounds like you have a little bit better relationship with them, but someone you don't know, say someone you met in the comments here, and you guys do this all the time. First of all,
Mhm.
I don't underwrite anybody in these comments. I don't know. I believe people have the best intention. Is you could do a JV deal with someone and make sure the trust is earned before you go like get in the bed with them, so to speak. Okay.
Right. Yes.
I think you're a little bit further than that. You can make that
Yeah.
decision. It's so the biggest thing people miss in their LLCs is there's a section in there on if you want to dissolve it. Say you get in like a bitter dispute, or he has to file bankruptcy and it screws up the business type of deal. There has to be a clear cut exit plan. Like
Mhm.
sometimes because then you own properties and stuff like that. But my recommendation, both of you, if you're going to do it for the long run, sit down with a lawyer and make sure you clearly. It's not as expensive as you think. Usually $500-600 you get the whole thing done, and then you treat it like a business as opposed to, because friends, like I got some good friends, but I'd never go into business with some of them. And like I have gone into business with friends, and for full disclosure, I've lost friendships over it.
Right.
I didn't realize they had this issue, and like, oh no, we're friends, it's good. Like, no, you just can't take money out of a bank account. Like so if you're going to do it, especially with the bank account, make sure you have checks and balances in place, 2 check signing. And usually one person's in control of the finances. Just make sure the person is the responsible party. But like, don't let it stop you. Guys, it's $150 set up an LLC. Most people don't set them up right. But like I've seen these services where gurus are pitching $1,000 to set up an LLC. Like you could go hire a private lawyer and have them do the whole thing for you for half the cost.
Okay.
So, and all they do is help you spell out like what happens if Johnny says he quits. Well, then Johnny gets nothing. So like in the first 5 years, I'd say if you quit, you get nothing. Like
Mhm.
that's it. Whatever's in the account, that's it. And we just call it a day. So that's the biggest challenge you have with people is like, no, it's never going to happen because we're really good friends. We can't make that. It's not going to happen. And it does happen. So it's, he's your friend. So have you had a deep conversation with him about the business structure?
Not yet.
Yeah. Okay.
Not
I
yet.
suggest you do. And I would dive into every worst case scenario because I'm telling you, dude, I've avoided it and it comes up and it gets real. Like I've spent time in court. I just spent almost $50,000 breaking up from a business partner of an LLC, 50 grand. We were chugging along. We were doing really, really well. And I just learned he just didn't want to do the business and I was doing all the work. And he's like, hey, why not? I just a gravy train. I'm like, I'm not doing this anymore before. And I dissolved the business. And he sued me and I won, but I didn't really know him. And that wasn't, and then I've been in business with friends where businesses didn't work out. So just be careful when you do friends with business. Cause it's, you got to run it like a business first. So I just went through this today on like another real estate deal. So, the really beauty of real estate is you can go deal the deal. And if people don't honor their agreement, you can just call it a day and move on.
Right.
And that's how I start out with people like, I'm not sure about you. Let's do this deal. If we're happy at the end, maybe we'll renew another deal. And then I've had people, I do one deal. I'm like, maybe dude, lose my number. I don't want to ever work with you again. That's crazy. So, but I think you got the right structure. Anything else?
Yeah, I had written down real quick. So when you talk Wednesday, I believe, about the filling out of contracts, right?
Yeah. So I went into details on that.
Right.
You got any questions on that or?
Yeah, you said that you don't ever pay the liens on a house and mortgages and this stuff, right? So in order to be able to purchase a house, doesn't the lien have to be closed first?
So typically how all house sales go is, so say I say, okay, Alexandra, I'm buying your house for 100,000. They're like, okay,
Okay.
100,000. If that's it, we put a contract together, we give it a title company, whatever liens are on that house comes out of your end. It doesn't come out of mine. And worst case scenario, say you owe $130,000 in liens and I have a contract for 100 grand. Guess we can't close on that transaction and I'm off the hook because you have to deliver me clear title. So without it, it doesn't work that way. Now, some sellers just they're not honest with you up front. Where most wholesalers get in trouble is when someone goes, I need a net number. I need a net 50,000 at the end. Be very, very cautious because you have no idea what the end number is going to be because you haven't seen the title work.
Right.
So I tell you what, Mr. Seller, tell me what you owe against the house and we'll do some basic math here. And if that works out, then we'll see what the number is. But I can only promise you this offer price, maybe less the closing cost, but the liens and the mortgage, I didn't sign this stuff up and I can't be on the hook for it. And you got to let them know that because I had multiple people I've been working on with JVs and they go, he told me he wanted a net number. Dude, net numbers are like a dream 9 times out of 10. Now, every now and then they are right, but you got to make sure you have all the information before you offer a net. Like the day you close affects the net. Where the property tax is paid. I don't know. What about like escrow monies and stuff like that? And it gets really complicated quick. And so if I have a guy who goes, listen, I just want to walk with 20 grand in my pocket, I have to go do so if I write a contract for 100 grand and he's got 80 grand in liens, I can make it work. What if the liens are like 92,000? How am I going to unwind that contract with them? And so when they say net, a lot of times you got to take a step back and go, okay, listen, share the data you have with me. And then I'll even write in the addendum section, if I can verify that your liens do not exceed this dollar amount, then maybe you can do it. But like in the beginning, as a new wholesaler, you do not want to get in that trap because they will nail you to the wall on it. Like they will not close unless you give them that number. And then all of a sudden you're working for free because you'll have to give away your assignment fee to make up the difference. So the only thing you got to remember in the beginning is stay away from net numbers because they're bad. They never, ever, I just had a deal on a high-end deal and the guy's like, I need a net 300. I go, I don't even know what you owe. And so I went through it and then he got down. He owed he had a $5,600 tax bill. He goes, I have to net that number. I go, your taxes are not my problem. I'm not paying your taxes. You didn't pay them. I wasn't getting that great of a deal. I was buying it for something else. And so whenever I hear a net number, I'm like, now every now and then there are people I just need to walk away with 20 and sometimes there's 80 grand in there. Mm-hmm. I don't take advantage of those people. I try to help them out. And you have to do that because some people are, by the way, I've been set up. I've had people sit there and see how bad you're going to abuse the situation. I've had people go, here, just take my house. I go, I'm not doing that. So somebody sent me a lead on here. I think they private messaged me because the guy just wants to give me his house. I'm like, run. Nobody just, it does happen, but it doesn't happen to brand new people in the business. I'm just right. You're missing something. You need to dig deeper. He won't give me any more information. I go, well, is that someone you really want to buy a house from? So, you got it. The only problem you're ever going to have is net number. So filling out the contract. So guys, the only thing that's negotiable really on the contracts past the price when you're doing wholesaling is the closing fees, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. So here's a trick. It's not a trick. It's just how you do wholesaling. If I have a seller that's giving me a really good number and they're making my life easy, I tell them, I'm just going to go ahead and take care of the closing costs. Alexander, does it make a difference if I offer that or not in the end? It does to the seller, but if you do an assignment of contract, who pays the closing costs?
The buyer.
So if you can use it as a selling feature to get someone to sign your contract, do it. But make sure you disclose it. Now, when I have a deal that's a little bit tighter, buyers are smart. They're not as stupid as you all think they are. If you could say, listen, I'm going to save you $5,000 in closing fees. I got them to pay their entire side. You just pay your side. They're like, okay, I know I can get maybe $2,000 or $3,000 more in my assignment fee. So the only one that's ever really in play past the price to me is the closing fees. And if they're like, listen, Rick, I'll give it to you. You got to pay the closing cost. If it's a smoking deal, I shake their hand right there. If it's tight, I go,
Right.
You know what? At that number, I can't really include that. I apologize. And I hold tight to it because if you go too high of a number, you're not going to get a cash buyer and you're going to get squeezed out of your assignment fee. And if the number's too tight, you can't double close it because there's not enough money in it. Make sense? Okay. Anything else?
That'll be it, I would say, for now.
Okay.
Let everybody else, someone else who has a question.
Okay, bud. Okay.
I
I
appreciate it so
appreciate it.
much.
Have a good one, man.
Thank you.
I'll
You
see
too.
you
Yep.
later. Okay, guys, that makes sense. The closing fees, a lot of time, that's really, in my opinion, yeah, listen, I bought cars, I bought boats with it. Always focus on the real estate. If you focus on the trinkets in the house, like the couch and the Stairmaster, like I suddenly seeing Pelotons left in houses everywhere. That stuff is like worthless. So I used to get distracted by that stuff. The money is in the real estate, is not in anything else. So what's up, Toy?
Hey, how are you doing?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm doing fine. So let me get into it. So, my husband and I, we've been driving for dollars, right? So we came in maybe about 50 leads. I had them skip trace. I called two of them. One said, call me back. And then so I did speak with someone. And he called me back and I asked about the property. And he said, well, yeah, it's been vacant for 5 years. Would you
5
like to
years.
go see it? Now, this
Yeah.
is my first time
Wow.
ever, period, doing everything. So
Okay.
I told my husband, I said, well, yeah, let's go see it. Let's act like we know what we're doing, right? So
Yeah.
go see it. But now the thing about it is that I believe when I went to the HCAD, because I'm here in Houston, I went to HCAD and it's in a Barbara Williams name. So I'm thinking this is her nephew, but he said that he was her realtor. Okay. So I get to the house, we go to the house and we can't get through the door because it's, stuff everywhere,
Yeah.
like up to your knees, and it's just like it's a dump basically.
Got it.
So I leave out and I said, okay, well, I'll give you a call because I didn't make any offers on the thing. So I go home, I get on Redfin and I call my friend who's a realtor so I can I'm looking at how to do the ARV. And so the ARV is about 185.43, 185,400.
Okay.
So I call him and I said, well, if you could just ask Miss Williams, what she's needing to, sell the house, and he was like, oh, well, I don't know what she's needing, but we're going to put it on the market for 100,000. And I said, okay. I said, well, let me talk to my team and I'll, if it's okay to give you a call on the weekend. And he was like, yeah, that's fine. And so I did kind of looked at some comps around the area. There were one house listed, same exact square foot. It was listed at 188,900. My friend, the realtor, told me it sold for 178. And I did another couple of properties and one sold for 190. So I'm just to figure out, is that 100 good? I have never done a deal before.
So let me ask you, a house that's 5 years, it's pretty bad, right?
It is bad. I'm like,
does it need to be knocked down?
I'm sorry?
Does it need to be knocked down? Is it something you can work with?
It's bones, basically. You have the ceiling hanging down.
So how many square feet under air, roughly?
It's 1,099, 3 bedrooms, 1.5 baths.
Okay. So roughly 1,100 square feet. So what you got to do is figure out what the rough calculation to do a full rehab on that amount of square footage, the cost per square foot.
Okay.
And then you got to figure out if it's like worth it. I can tell you it ain't going to be cheap. I mean, it just depends on how bad it is. So does it have central AC? Does it have the old electrical system? I mean, it's a house 5 years, guys. You're going to get a ton of surprises. I mean, you're going to deal with rodents, animal control, termites, depending on what part of the region you're in. Honestly, so you're going to have to get it at a good price. I'm telling you right now, you're looking at 60 to 75 to fix it up minimum, and that's if someone knows what they're doing.
Right.
So if you bought it at 100 and you wind up at 75, by the time with holding costs and everything, I'm talking about the end buyer, they're going to be close to 200 when it's said and done. It's not, and prices aren't going up. Now, I'm sure the houses in those price range, I'm sure they move because they're still affordable, but it's got to make sense. The real question is, who is the person you were dealing with on the?
I believe he was her nephew. He did not look like a realtor at all. I mean, it's just like There's no
So you,
lockbox on the house. He came with the key. It's not like he unlocked the lockbox or anything.
so did you ask him, who are you?
Yeah, I said, "Is this like your family?" He was like, "Oh, she's just an old alumni, alumni of mine."
Okay. So one of the things you do before you go and visit a property, number one, for safety in today's world, you have to verify who you're talking to. I'm going to let you know that if you guys in the last 5 years, there's just been some horrific tragedies of people that set people up. They target realtors. Okay. I don't want them to target wholesalers. I think most wholesalers would tear them apart, but they set them up. They set up nice, young, pretty girls, and they look at their profile, they stalk them, and then they find a listing. And they're like, hey, I want to see the property. And bad things happen. It's terrible. So
My
before
husband,
I
my
know, but
husband with me.
okay, well, that's good. So that's what I'm getting at. You got to be safe because I want you to verify who you're meeting with. Because number one, you don't want to waste your time, and number two, you don't need like some freak show. Like if your husband's not around, you got to feel safe. Plus, a house like this, it's run down. You have to. The story has to add up. It's got to be like more than a realtor, more than alumni. Like what the hell are you up to? Like a property vacant 5 years. So whose name's on the deed? What's her name?
Her name is Barbara Williams. Now she's actually lives around the corner from where I grew up, so I'm familiar with the neighborhood.
Okay. So can you try to connect with her?
I have her address.
Okay. I would just be like really super polite. Maybe even put like a little note on the dollar. I'm sorry, a note on the door. But yeah, 5 years doesn't like, I think typically when a house sits 5 years, unless somebody died and there's a probate issue, which is common, outside of that, it doesn't make sense, right? Who would let a house go to crap that long? And number two, who's paying the property taxes? You look up the property taxes?
I did look up the property
Are they
taxes.
paid?
She actually, when I go on the ownership history, she has 2 other houses here in Houston.
Listen,
All of them are homesteaded.
I would go directly to them and charm them. And I don't think the person you're dealing with is being upfront. It just sounds weird.
Okay.
Okay. But you're going to have to get a good deal on the house. I mean, the house is like, when you get houses like that, people are just like, when they want to sell it. So I'm going to tell you a little story. I had one same situation where she had a niece living here in Florida. She was up, I believe it was in Ohio. And I sent her a letter, a marketing letter I did at the time. And she's like, yeah, I'm interested in selling the house. My niece is there taking care of it. So can you go by and look at it? I had to go on like 9 different appointments. Like the lady kept canceling. It was kind of weird. Long story short, she had a huge like drug problem. I finally went and looked at the house. I mean, it was beyond my worst nightmare. I mean, they were throwing rave parties in there, and I'm just like, and the girl's like, "You're not going to tell on me." I'm like, I don't even know what this has got rats running around. It's disgusting.
Yeah.
So there was,
The trash was so deep in the restroom that you
yeah,
could even see the toilet.
yeah, it doesn't make sense. So you think she's an elderly lady? Were you able to like figure her age?
I do believe that she's elderly.
Okay. So I would even offer to bring in like an attorney if she needs and help them out. I always treat people just like it to my mother. Like you can't take advantage. I could be wrong. Someone's taking advantage of her. It doesn't make sense. In this hot of a market to leave a property like that 5 years vacant makes no sense to me.
Got it.
So I've had people use houses for storage. I get that all the time. I've had people use them for parties and excessive stuff. But I will tell you, when I did that deal, I had to take pictures. And she goes, that's not my house. I go,
It is.
it's your house. She's like, you can't be. I go, dear, I'm just going to tell you the truth. Whatever's going on there is not like, she goes, I just sent her $30,000. She says she needed to fix the house up. I go, it wasn't spent on the house. So the pool was all caved in. It was just, I mean, it was a mess. And basically this girl, I had to get involved because it was above my acquisitions person at the time, but it wound up being a wonderful deal. But like I had people, they were threatening employees, like crazy stuff, because like I was ruining what they were like, dude,
Right.
you're ruining the good thing here. We got like a party central going on. I promise you, if you buy it, not only do you fix up the neighborhood, you help everyone's value, you help out a little old lady who's been taken advantage of, but you're probably going to get some resistance from this guy. And I'm just going to forewarn you.
I could see it because And I started in that neighborhood. I don't live in that neighborhood, but I started in that neighborhood because that's where I grew up from. I'm very familiar with it. I'm very comfortable being in the neighborhood. And I think it's at the point where a lot of the elderly are transitioning out of the neighborhood. There's a lot of houses over there. Just yesterday alone, I collected 50 more houses.
Yeah. So I would get to the root of the problem, and you just try to be nice, and don't be surprised if the younger person you met with doesn't call you with an attitude like, "What do you think you're doing?" Like,
Okay.
let me would you let a family member's house go that south, sit for 5 years in one of the most aggressive markets and no one's living there? It doesn't make sense.
No.
So you have to be a detective without like rattling everyone's cage type of deal, and understanding all families have different dynamics, and you're only familiar with yours, and your job's just don't step on people's toes, but just kind of talk to them. I do little things like, when's the last time you've seen the house?
Right. And the one thing that really caught, like, kind of like when we left out of the house, the lady on the porch sitting across the street from the house, she said, "Hey, John," like she
Yeah.
knows him. You know what I mean?
So if you want to get more intel on it, talk to the lady next door. She's friendly. I guarantee she's got a scoop on that house.
Okay.
So guys, here's a tip. If you really want to find out and like figure out what's going on with the house, and you're like, I don't understand, it's in her name, but you want to meet with me, that's always a red flag right off the bat. I always want to meet with the person whose name is, that's the responsible party. If you want to know more, just go talk to the neighbors, especially if they're friendly. They will dump on you for, don't be surprised if you're there 30, 40 minutes. They're like, well, he comes over here, and it's like, listen, we're part of being a wholesaler. I'm just going to tell you the truth on it. You're somewhat of a social worker sometimes.
Right.
You got to help people out. And it's like, I can't tell you how many times I sit there. I'm like, for the welfare of people, I'm like, I can't let this go on anymore. Like, even if I don't buy the house, I'm calling. So now I'm not your Karen, but like, if there's something going on that's going to hurt the neighborhood, there's children who live in the neighborhood, it's ridiculous. So,
Right.
and then when you deal with an elderly person, always offer to bring in a family member first. And then if not, bring in, ask her if she has a lawyer she wants to work with. Now,
Okay.
don't be surprised when you guys use the word wholesaler around like older people, you will freak people out because people have done some really bad things out there. But I don't teach that method. I treat everyone just like it's my own mother, because it's going to come back to you. So
Right.
if you look on the screen here, it says, are there laws to protect elderly from this kind of stuff? There is. I'm telling you, you enter into a contract with somebody 65 or older, which one day I'm approaching soon, they have more rights than you think they do. If
Right.
you take abuse of them, that contract can be challenged in court and it will be taken down, and then they're going to go after you. And you better hope it's just civil, but it can be criminal if it was abusive. So
Right.
whenever you have somebody older, and like I've had older people, they go, Rick, I truly don't know the value of the house, and they live there 50 years. I go, let's bring someone in to figure it out. I'm not going to be the guy. You can't, like, it's going to blow up on you. So maybe she has a family member that maybe she can trust a little bit more to get, because I guarantee she doesn't know the condition of the house. It's up to you. Maybe take a picture on your phone when you're out there, when you drive by, if you're going to talk to the neighbor, just in case you need it with her. But I've probably had a dozen times where there's like, that's not my house. I'm like, it is. Our
Right.
job is to help people out and fix up communities.
Right.
Without us, what's a realtor going to do with that house? Really? Are you going to go out and like find a cash buyer? It's going to be a process. So
You think so?
yeah, you didn't get inside the house, did you?
Yeah, I went inside.
Yeah, it's pretty rough.
I went
Is it wet?
inside. It was trash up to your knees. I mean, you just,
Yeah.
like her
Yeah.
bed. I mean, but it's furnished, like her couch,
Okay.
her bed. It's just
So,
trashed.
so let me ask you this, Toy, if you get that house under contract, what are you going to do with it? Say you
This-
get a really good deal and it works out.
I don't know. I wouldn't. I guess I would try to find a cash buyer.
Yeah, you're going to sign it. You guys, in the business of wholesaling, do not get sucked into the rehab fix and flip business. I'm telling you, I've been there. It's terrible.
Yeah, I just want my
You
first.
you got to start at 6 in the morning and you finish at 6 at night, and you just push workers all day, and you have to learn construction. And if you don't know construction, you're going to get a crash course in it, and they will take full advantage of you. I did a bunch of fix and flips, and the problem with fix and flips is there's a lot of unknowns.
Right.
And that house, you think there's a lot of unknowns? I promise you got some large critters living in all parts of the house.
Well,
Like,
I thank God that none of them ran out yet.
no, I know. So it's like you don't want to meet them. So on a house like that, I get on a contract, I'm getting rid of it as fast as I got it. And
Right.
I'm gonna let someone go through all this work because you're going to be spending that house would take a year and a half to get right.
Right.
And guess what? In a year and a half, you have no idea what the retail market's going to demand for it. You could actually lose you could lose a lot of money. So
Right.
take the money now. I'm sure it's below the median price there. You're gonna have to get it well under 100 grand though. You know that. Like there's
You think that was my main question?
yeah.
You think
I mean, somebody in the comments, somebody maybe got some contractor experience, but I'm telling you, you're looking at least $60 a square foot minimum. And a lot of times that's without a roof. So from everything you've said to me, I mean, to me, it's 70, 75,000. I'm just guessing. And that's if everything works out perfect.
right? Because you
So
got
kind of do the math on that. Like I would start at like 50 and I probably wouldn't go above 75. It's a huge risk. It's
It
a
is.
nightmare,
Okay.
right? Just like,
And I'm
here's my defense to it. Look at it.
I've been in it, and
If
I'm
you
thinking,
go, and here's what they go, well, Toy, like say she has a family rep, so he goes, can't you just come up to 100? I go, I tell you what, you put a new roof on it, you get all the trash out of it, you mow the lawn, and you fix the drywall inside. I can do 100. You know why? Because then you got to put 25 to get me to that number. I'm like,
I
if you
love
do
it.
this, I'll get you to that number. But like, this is a lot of work. And guys, it's hard to find labor. It's hard to find supplies. Yes, I know it's changing, but the mentality for most homeowners, like it's hard to do. If it was so easy to do, why didn't they just do it? Right? It's hard.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
you're on the right. You have the right house. And here's a lot. Like, this might take a little bit of time. Just hang in there. Hang in
Okay.
there. I've waited
Another list
years
of-
for deals.
I'm
And you're on the
calling.
right. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're on the right path. Now, I promise you, I got a feeling that the person been showing his house, he's shown it to a lot of wholesalers.
I believe that.
So now you go, okay, I got a gatekeeper. He's locked this thing down for 5 years. We're getting nowhere with this guy.
I got it. I got
So
it. I'm
figure out
moving.
the relationships and just like, I tell you what, there's a lot of times these deals run dead, but I tell you, get some really good stories out of real estate. And real
Yeah.
estate talks to you and it's just like, and a lot of the older people that walk you down memory lane of everything in that house, and she has nothing but good memories. Did you see how long she owned it for?
She's been there. She's owned it almost like 40 years. The
There
house
you
was
go.
built in 62.
So I would just gain rapport with her, talk about the glory days. And I always tell them, listen, I want to get the house back to where it belongs.
Right.
The neighborhood deserves it. You deserve it. Everybody deserves it. How can we put this together? And understanding bringing in the other guy is just going to put a wrench into your plan. So you got to squeeze this guy out because he's just wasting your time. So
Got it. Got it.
and just keep doing what you're doing, guys. You're looking for houses just like that. The bigger the problem you solve, the more money you can make. And I
Yeah.
gave you a technique. When I get an old crappy house like that, that's just dilapidated. Listen, you let a house sit 1 year anywhere in the United States and nobody touches it. I promise you're going to come back to massive problems.
Right.
Because I tell you, critters, like they find crawl spaces in the house, they find openings in the soffit. And when they know humans aren't around, they will burrow in there. They love it. And the minute there's activity in the house, they don't want anything to do with it.
Right.
But houses, that's why we have Home Depots, Lowe's, general contract. It's just, they're endless. You know what it takes maintenance to just the place you live. It's like, gosh, if you have kids, you even know it more, right? It's like crazy.
Right.
It's like
Right.
a lot of work. So
I'm
you're on the right path.
Yeah, because I'm driving for dollars to get my deal. I want my deal.
Let's keep doing it. I just spent a little bit of time in it, working it. And these are some of my, let me tell you what, I took for granted when I was younger, like being around like older people, especially in my family. And now, like, dude, they're just so full of information and like life stories. And
Yeah.
a lot of them just want to talk. So if you can connect on that, make it personable, like that's what I do really good in real estate. Everyone's like, oh, you got to be a slick set. No, you just got to connect with people. You got to help them out.
Okay.
You'll get it. I'm just telling you, take time. But this guy, like, whatever you got to do to go around it, like being nice, go, 5
Right.
years, you guys haven't sold it. Like, how can we get this done? Like, obviously, if he's going to let it sit 5 years, he's going to be your constant roadblock. And if you have to have a meeting with him, it's a waste of time.
Right. 500, and 100,000, and that house was like,
It's
Oh my-
insane. And so that means he's trying to pocket something off of it. It's
I believe it.
100,000. You got to be
Yeah, 100,000. If you would have just saw now, just I know you have seen almost everything, but to
I
actually
haven't seen everything.
that for that to be my first property that I walk in as a wholesaler, I'm like, oh my God, the smell of mildew. I mean, just it was
I
just
know it's.
everything.
Let me tell you what. I wouldn't be surprised if it took $100,000 to get that house back to where it needs to go in today's market. I wouldn't be surprised.
I
And you
believe
got to kind of let them know and go, listen. So here's what I do when people don't accept my price. I go, okay, well, I said I would help you out either way. I go, would you like me to get a contractor to write up an estimate? I'll even get 3 for you.
right.
I promise you 2 to 3 contractors can go like, no way.
No
No
way.
way. They're going to tell you 150 grand. I don't want to deal with it.
Right.
And if the family wants to get the promise you, like they haven't, like it's not even worth doing that. It's crazy. I would start at like the 50 range, and that's even to me kind of aggressive. And like 70 is like as far as I would explore. Like it's just not worth it past that.
Right.
Think
Okay.
about it. Worst case scenario is 100. Best case scenario is like 70, in my opinion.
Okay.
You don't want to get in rehab. You just want to sell the deal and get it up and moving, and you want to help. You want to help her out. So
Yeah,
I think you're on the right track.
it was always to wholesale. I don't want to no flip.
I
No,
got it.
yeah,
You
it's
got it. You're
okay.
right on. Just keep looking for those houses and doing what you're doing is the fastest way to get to a deal. I'm telling
Okay.
you, but I will tell you guys. So the reality of what's going on in the market right now is the party's ending for big business. Like retailers are struggling. Target's getting crushed. Walmart's getting crushed. And these are staple stores, guys. And right now, if you want to buy a computer or a camera, they're all going down in price. And let me let you know a little secret. Everything's going to go on sale in the next 3 months because the last 2 years, no company's been able to keep up with inventory. They have to forecast 12 to 18 months ahead of time. All this stuff's coming over from China. It's all pre-ordered. Nobody's buying in the United States. Like buying is really shutting down. People are getting pinched on gas, groceries. It's terrible. And they're like, okay, we're not going to make that purchase. I told you, I went to Home Depot today. I've never seen it this empty on a Friday. I'm just like, usually I'm standing in long lines. It was like, it felt like you were there like a Friday night at like 8:30 when nobody, they're closing. And I'm like, man, I haven't seen this in a long time. Every shelf is stocked. The writings on the handwritings on the wall, guys. It's so prices for fixing stuff should come down a little bit, but what's going to happen is they were like, well, real estate's really good. I'm like, it's extreme lagging effect. We are now just finishing up all the mortgage loans applications of all of the rates at like 4.5%. Once all that stuff washes out, and remember the data that came out today was from May. We are deep into June. This is just going to get ugly. So hold on and make sure you guys work your leads because no one's coming to bail them out. And it's okay. You might have to pay a little bit of a patience game. I'm paying it. You guys are seeing it in your market. Low price stuff that's not completely dilapidated, you can move quickly. But the last time I went through this cycle, I had about 14, 15 months paying, but I made plenty of money. It was a lot more work. And then 10 years, it was the easiest I've ever seen in my life.
Got it.
So it's kind of like, you ever been through like a painful diet or an exercise program? You have to pay the price to yield the rewards. The problem with retail in real estate is they are the last to know at the party.
Got it.
Everybody right now, actually the chat, everybody you're marketing to, they think their house is worth $1 million. It's so frustrating. Even people with houses that have been abandoned for 5 years that are crap because this crazy thing of like house prices are shooting up through the roof. It's ridiculous. And I'm here to tell you, it's going to get a little bit worse each month. And mortgage rates, in my opinion, they're going to peak out around 7, maybe 7.5%. I don't know, but I'm betting. You understand they can't let mortgage rates get too high because the United States cannot pay their debt back.
Right.
So it's not like in the 80s where they went up to 13, 14%. Those days aren't happening. But 22-year low on mortgage applications. The rates are going up. The Fed's talking about maybe doing like a 1-point adjustment. They are freaked out. And Americans are freaked out. This isn't a political thing. It's just, and guys, I hate to tell you this, this is healthy for the real estate market in the long run. Imagine your kids or your grandkids trying to pay at these price levels. They're going to have to be gazillionaires coming out of like high school to pay these numbers. So if you've ever been over to Europe, it's like $1.5 million just to get a basic house. It's the house, the real estate's been around so long. So these are good things. I think nobody else is going to buy that house at the price. So if you can strike the right relationship, you'll do very, very well.
Okay, so I'm just gonna keep
Keep searching.
driving for dollars and calling my leads every day.
How
That's
you
what
doing? And guys, especially the ladies, be safe when you go out there. If you call someone and the name doesn't match what's on the deed, ask some hard questions before you get in that car, because if it doesn't make sense, I ain't going. And by the way, I've had, as a craziest, I've had other wholesalers like set up people on my sales staff and manipulate their properties and do like crazy stuff. Like, people are just weird. So we always ask a few hard questions before we go on the appointment. Hey, I just want to make sure I got the right parties there. I see Jane Doe. Is your husband going to be there? Yeah. And anybody else? So if you show up and you see 4 people, don't get out of the car. And let me tell you what, there's nothing worse than going on appointment. It's okay for a husband and wife, but when they bring in like a realtor and someone else, no.
got it.
Because you're going to be in hostile territory.
He is no more a realtor than I am.
No, I know. But if he's a licensed realtor, you should be able to easily look him up.
Yeah, he's not a realtor.
So if they're starting off with a lie with you, you got problems. So
I'm not gonna do that because he gave me his first and last name. And one thing he did say when I first called about the property, because when I went back to my skip trace list for that address, his number is not on there. So whoever I called had to give him my number.
Oh, well.
Right. So
I mean, he might have nothing to do with the problem. Maybe he's got it under contract and he's trying. I don't know. Did you get his first and last name?
Yeah, his name is, I got his first and last name. And he said, well, most people, they back out of the deal once they find out she has a realtor. That's what he said.
Yeah, I go straight to the source. They're not helping you out. And don't feel like you're cutting him out. Like if he's lying to you, forget it. Move on.
All right.
And then Google his phone number too with his name and see if anything else pops up.
I'm ready to do it right now. Thank you so much.
You might be shocked. Okay. Toya, you're on the right path. Keep it going.
Thank you.
Okay, I'll talk to you. Okay, guys. So that's a big tip. When you guys go out to look at the houses, if you're going to go on a physical appointment, make sure who's ever on the deed shows up, because people start representing themselves for people they're not. That's when you go down like a really, really dark road when you're doing that. So you really, really don't want to do it. So just a heads up. I know you guys, we always talk about data and stuff. On PropStream on listrei.com, they brought back the MLS data. They basically had to renegotiate with our friends NAR. So the data's back in there. And I told you guys, it wasn't a necessity to do it, but a lot of people made like a really big deal out of it. It's not that big of a deal. Remember, we're in the business of buying discounted properties, not comping out the final retail number. So I wouldn't spend a lot of time on it. So what's up, CJ? You there?
What's going on, my man? How you doing?
Good, man. Have we talked before?
I think I called 2 days ago, or 3 days ago. My girlfriend called 2 days ago as well. But
it's Brooklyn, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. No, I think we spoke to her. A couple days ago. So she's well, you guys are dynamic. I mean, you guys are pushing it. So cool.
Yeah, we're giving it everything right now. I mean, just in my free time, I'm pretty much doing everything I can.
Okay. What can I help you out with?
A couple of questions for you guys. Well, things are going good so far right now. I feel like I haven't given it enough time yet to make an assessment of where we're really at. I want to give it like a full month and then say, all right, here's where I need to make adjustments. We need to make more calls. We need to be driving around more. Maybe at that point we sit and we actually review kind of the work we put in and see how we can make any kind of adjustments. But right now things are going the way that I expected them, to say the least, right?
Oh, you're a month into your journey?
Not even, like since June. Yeah. So a little over a week, but I mean, I feel like I've been doing everything the way that you guys laid out, and I'm starting to learn day by day and kind of just adding on those layers, making me pretty good at this. As far as we are getting some interest from people. I called a guy the other day who was pretty interested, but he was almost embarrassed with the fact that he signed with a big company. It sounds like, who, if he happens to back out of a contract, he can't sell for like 4 months. Have you guys heard of this or like
Yeah,
ran
it's
into a situation like that?
so I'm here to tell you. So I made a lot of mistakes when I was younger doing this. Okay. Dude, I've had more lawsuits than I care to admit to. I made mistakes. I didn't do anything wrong. I just, but being ignorant is not a defense. I promise you. So when you go on an appointment or you're talking to someone on the phone and they've admitted to you they've entered into some other contract, you kind of have to stop because you're
Right.
gonna like you will wind up in court faster than you know what hit you. It's just I'm telling everybody on this, if they tell you they've entered into a contract and say they reach out and talk to you or they want to entertain you to make an offer, the guys, some sellers are just they're devious. Like it's just like they don't understand they sign one contract to the other. So when you hear another contract, you got to go, listen, when you break off that contract, I would love to talk to you. I'm open to talking to you. I can't entertain you while you're doing this because if that contract doesn't go through and they want to use you as the scapegoat, you can personally be sued. You, your company, your girl, like it's so I've had this happen to me. I've had it happen to me too. So I've had it happen on both sides. So immediately when you hear someone's entering in multiple contracts, you're most likely going to be struggle to ever get them to a closing table. Number two, these big companies like Open Door and all these others that are buying these houses, they've stopped. They're probably not going to close on that house. They're
Okay.
most likely not going to close on that house. If they're not going to close on that house, it's reasonable that the seller should get a release from them to do what they want with the house. That only sounds fair, correct?
Right. Yeah.
Okay. So if they don't, but these are very one-sided contracts, so open inspections and crap load that. So at worst case scenario, you can wait it out and just got to kind of entertain it. It gets like sloppy, but listen, if this company stopped buying and they never honored anything on their agreement, I don't know if that 4 months actually really sticks. So if you get a good deal and it makes it work, you might want to just review it with a title company or like an attorney. But like all the hedge funds right now, they're
Okay.
all on lockdown. They're not buying anything else. And keep in mind, they've been buying like a third of the deals on the market. So all these like pending contracts, I would keep a careful eye on them, guys. But like, I don't want to get sued by that company. I don't want to get sued by the seller. You just stay in good graces and ask for a release of contract. That's all. Give me a release of contract, and I'll write an offer today. I'll make this real easy for you. Without the release of contract, you might want to take a look at it and have someone at a title company or a lawyer review it. If it's a really good deal, it's worth bringing in a lawyer. If it's okay, I'd probably just wait them out the 4 months because you'll probably get a lower price anyways.
So they can write you in for 4 months. Pretty like I guess what
What
he's saying
listen,
is that if he backs out of the contract, he
if
said
he
that he can't sell for 4 months after that.
yeah, so realtors do that all the time with their
Okay.
listing. They do it up to 6 months to a year. It's listen, the odds of somebody enforcing that, in my opinion, are slim to none. Now they're doing that so sellers don't back out, but like 4 months is excessive. 30, maybe 90 days is reasonable. Like I
Right.
get it, right? You don't want anyone to do it. I would never write that in my contract because it's a very one-sided contract. By the way, just because they put it in their contract doesn't make it legal. It like I could tell you, you have to smoke 3 packs of cigarettes for me to do this deal. You said I can't enforce it on you. So
Right.
you have to weigh the assessment. Would this company come and sue me? So the biggest person you're most vulnerable is the homeowner suing you because you will never ever win. You guys hear me? If a homeowner sues you, the odds of you winning are so slim to none because if they are the homeowner, it's not a rental property and it's their homesteaded property and they claim you abused or something, the judge is going to most likely put the burden on you, not them. And they could, listen, I've been in courtrooms. You'd be surprised how people can spin stuff with an attorney. It's like really bad. So I would just get on her side and you can't coach her on like the legalities of it. Ask her to reach out to a lawyer and just talk to them. Talk to a title company. It's a ridiculous contract. If I was a betting man, they're probably not going to enforce it because I don't think they're going to buy it. So how long has she been under contract with them?
I think like not even 2 weeks.
Yeah. I would be nervous that I don't think they're going to buy it. And did she share the price on it?
No, so they're gonna fish offers and present them next week is what what they told me. And
Yeah.
basically what they had said was, hey, I'll give you a call then, and I'd be happy to back out of the contract if you wanted to wait that time. I just don't want anything bad to happen. Like, I just kind of did it, but I kind of just signed to sell.
Yeah. So that gives you an idea what like motivated sellers, they just want sign and they want the
He
pro.
just sounded like he didn't want to show the house. He wanted one company to do all of it
No,
and then
I get
bring
it.
me on.
Listen, just stay on a follow-up. It's not worth trying to sabotage a deal like that. Just try to
Right.
find other stuff and go, listen, if you get released from the contract, they don't follow through, I would love to help you out and just like move on. Like I've pushed before and I got in trouble. So I'm just telling you, don't push. It's up to them to seek legal counsel to get out. They sign the contract. And here's what these companies do. You sign one-sided like 20-page contracts. It's ridiculous. And people understand when they sell to Open Doors, Zillow, all these other places, there's a lot of pain like in those contracts. And they don't, because there's a sales guy that signs it up. And then there's a team that actually transaction coordinator takes it down. And then there's a dispo team. None of them give a crap about each other. They just run each other under the bus. I've seen these contracts before. In the super hot market, they never ever backed out of them. I'm telling you, I would not be surprised if they backed out of it. But worst case scenario,
Okay.
CJ, you wait 4 months, you just get a cheaper price anyways, because by then he's like,
Right.
okay,
Yeah.
I'm done with these games. I got to get this shit done. Sorry about that. That's going to kill me. And then that kind of gives you some time. If he calls you back and stuff, you can kind of figure out what kind of price. But I ask him, how much did they put it under contract for you? Just ask. The worst he's going to say is like, I'm not comfortable giving that information. I always use this as a cheat sheet. They don't
Okay.
have to give it to you. Just ask. Why? And you know what? It's a good learning experience. You go, well, shit, that's terrible. I was only going to offer this and they paid this. Well, if they can't fire a buyer, they overpaid for it and you're not going to make that mistake twice.
Okay.
So, is
Good
it
question.
like the average median price in your neighborhood or?
It's a good area. When I called it, it's like a prime time area.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I had a deal once similar to that. She told me she got out of the contract with the other wholesaler. The house is going to auction in 9 days. I took the deal together, signed off everything. I assigned it. I made my money. And then 3 months later, I got sued by the other wholesaler. I only made like 12 grand and it cost me $32,000 to
Yikes.
get my name cleared. And like, I didn't do anything. And I couldn't, they're like, you have responsibilities. And I just learned the minute she said she had a contract,
Should've
you just have to walk away in a court's eyes because now you're liable. And if you proceed, then now you're liable. So I bought a house and it basically cost me 20 grand. It was like, I was so embarrassed by it. I'm just like, the damn thing was going to auction. The guy had it under contract for 9 months. It was like a $30,000 house in like a crack neighborhood too. I'm just like, so my intentions were right, but just because your intentions are right doesn't going to mean you're going to get out of it. So
Right.
I don't think this company is going to close, man. Like the right, all my hedge funds, because even my staff's like, they're not buying anymore. I've confirmed it across the country. Open Doors, it now closed door. Here's the good news. You're not going to have to compete with them going forward. I'm
Right.
telling you. And when they say it, talk to your buyers, go, listen, just understanding those are open-ended offers. If everything's not perfect, they're not going to close. And they can get out of those contracts are written where they can get out up to the last day. They're very one-sided.
Okay.
Motivated sellers will sign stuff like that. They just want their problem solved. So you just got to go find another one and stay in good graces with them, but be really, really careful. I don't want you to make a financial mistake with it. If she says, hey, I'm out of the contract, if he says it, say, that's great. I'm going to put you in touch with my title company. If you can prove to them you're out of it, I'll enter into a contract. That way the liability is off of you. So
Okay.
us wholesalers,
Yeah,
like we're hyper aggressive and we want to contract everything. That can get you in a lot of trouble. So by the way, I have home investors in my market and they try to talk half my clients out of our deals. And I've sued them twice. I win every time. It's like, and I make them pay dearly. And they know when they see my name and my company's name on it,
Stay away. Right.
they get shady staff. And these are like licensed broker that goes, no, I know you signed a contract with that company, but they'll never come through on it. I'm like, I've bought 3,000 properties. I'll come through on it. And you cannot interfere with people's contracts, guys. You get in a lot of trouble with it. So the good news, all these companies, I promise you for an 18 months, you're not going to hear a word from them. So you won't have to deal with it. In the last 2 years, it's been ridiculous. Zillow's been our biggest competitor in our local market. Unreal. But they overpaid for every one of the houses. I sold one house to Zillow. I'm like, if you guys want to pay for this, you can have it. It took them 4 months to close on it, though. 4 months. Because everything had to be perfect. So,
Right.
what else you got?
I had a couple questions. So,
Okay.
in looking for sale by owners, is Zillow where you want to look? Facebook Marketplace? I've seen a lot on Trulia that I'm not seeing on other sites. So I'm like,
well, those rules are going to change as we go because these properties aren't moving. They're going to get slower and slower every month. The problem with the average homeowner, it takes them a long time to get the bad news. So depending on how much they watch CNN, NBC, like all these news stations, there's not a. Do you realize I watched the other day, they're still reporting positive data for like real estate other than mortgages. It's like, you got to be kidding me. They're like, oh, prices are up 16% over this quarter. Guys, it's 6 months behind. All the data is way, way behind. It's really bad data. So when it comes to FSBOs, ideally you're looking for properties that just aren't moving on the open market. I'm going to be honest with you, like we haven't had much look on Facebook Marketplace, but that could be local to my market. Florida's we're just
Right.
flooded with idiots. Zillow's it's going to be good. The properties just aren't going to move. I will tell you, the low end properties, guys, they're always going to sell. They always sold in a bad market. They'll sell in a good. They sold in a good market. It's the stuff once you get to the median price and above. Once the glut of inventory, and who's to say? I just think we're going to have a more balanced market, but realtors are still to this day telling people let me list your property. You'll get above ask list price and it'll be like no problem. What you want to do is find people that put properties on there that have some sort of issue with their property. Any type of issue on a property right now is going to stand out like a sore thumb. Buyers are just going to pass on it. They're not going to put up with the crap. Do you realize how much crap buyers have put up with the last 3-4 years? It's like they just take houses for what that is. The last probably 25 houses we've sold, this is stuff like my company bought. I don't have to sign stuff. Is we just make them pay for everything at the closing. Like it's non-negotiable. Like here, have it. The old days, like, oh God, let me pay for everything. And now we just had a deal today that like, you need to pay the doc stamps. I'm like, and then I said to my wife, I go, we need other buyers. She's like, no, just take it. I go, okay. So we're starting to see the shift here. So you'll find a pattern, and when you start calling them, but you want to find houses that are, just a little bit like maybe ugly. Find a pattern. You're still not chasing the pretty houses, guys. There's still going to be a pain in the ass till the end of this year. After the end of this year, then you can even chase the pretty houses.
okay.
So
Yeah.
definitely preferential towards Zillow over Trulia. Is it Trulia?
Trulia.
So I don't spend a lot of time on Trulia. The one thing I like about Trulia, when you deal with like the lower end houses, you can see like if I went in your backyard and I was trying to I had a house under like contract and I was trying to figure out what I could do. Like I look at I love Trulia. They give you the crime rates in the neighborhood. They'll even give you a feed of like the last car stolen, and it's like, and then they color code it.
Okay.
So like if you get in a neighborhood, you're like, there's no, like we do some stuff like we had one in Tennessee. I'm like, just get rid of, I don't even want to deal with that property. Like it's the worst crime phase of all. We dealt with like in Memphis, and like there's just certain pockets, just like in Florida, we got like bad areas. We got, Liberty City, like crazy stuff, like Riviera Beach. Like it's just, and they're next to like $20 million homes. It's crazy. And I guarantee you have neighborhoods like that too. So when you find something that has success, just replicate the pattern. So if you found like a 3-2, and it was outdated, and they told you they had a problem with the house, and it was on a FSBO, and it was sitting on the market for like 60 days, find a way to search for those types of houses, and you can do it. Eventually, guys, I haven't touched MLS data in like 8-9 years. I haven't even looked at it. By the end of this year, we're going to go deep into MLS because I know this stuff's going to sit. So I'm looking for higher end houses that I can buy and like potentially take over mortgages and stuff like that. But it's got to make huge financial sense. But I don't want you chasing those houses down first. You found the right Seller, your timing was off. That's it.
And then I did speak to a woman the other day who is in the process. It's like she said it was a pre-probate property. We were wondering if she was like, I'll give you a call back. Like I have your number and stuff. She's like, I'll definitely keep your info for when the probate is like closed. So I was like,
okay. So her objection to you was when the probate's done, then I can consider selling you the house.
yeah.
Okay. So I'll let you in a little bit of secret. How long ago did they open up the probate? Do you know?
I haven't looked through the file yet to see when they opened it.
So I made an entire living off of this argument. Okay. Did you know that you do not have to wait till the probate's done to buy a piece of property in probate? It's all BS. It's
Right.
so probate's been around a long time, like hundreds of years. A probate is just a legal move that takes the deceased person's final financial affairs and wraps them up. They can't sign loans, they can't sign titles over, they can't close bank accounts, and they can't transfer deeds. That's really the purpose of probate. Along with it, there's supposed to be a responsible party from the family, usually the PR, the executor, that carries out the wishes if they have a will. If there's not a will, there's an entire process they go through. So if you have a probate and they have a will, it's easy. Here's the key. Find out how many heirs there are. If you have less than 4 heirs, it's easier. Once you get more than 4 people, have you ever sat in a room and tried to get 4 people to make a decision on where you're going to go to dinner? It's like torture.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like even like when I ask my wife, where are we going to dinner? And it's just like she'll tell me a place. I'm like, that's fine. And then it's like, we're still circling the drain. Like 20 minutes later, I'm like, sometimes agreeing just doesn't always work. So in the probate, in this case, if you have 4 or less heirs, there is a will in place. You can confidently tell them, what if I could show you a way where you could sell your property now before the probate's over? Is that something you want to talk about?
Okay.
And why it works so well is because everyone told me I had to wait till the end of probate. I sat down with the lawyer. He goes, oh, that's BS. He goes, the lawyers say that so they can jack up their fees and they stay in control. Here's the key is if you enter an agreement with that seller and they're the PR, you have control. You don't have to sit there and take the lawyer's crap anymore. What most lawyers do is they try to guard the seller. They're basically trying to guard their deal. I don't blame them. I guess if I was a lawyer, I'd do the same. Once you enter into that contract, you don't need the lawyer's consent for anything. You just say, listen, I always talk to a local title company and hopefully there's a lawyer associated. They can file a motion to liquidate that asset. Why? Because houses are a huge drain on an estate. They have to pay the light bill. Somebody's got to mow the lawn. Someone's got to pay the property tax and the insurance. And sometimes these things go on for years.
Right.
And people just if the house is empty, it falls to crap. So I've already told you, if a house sits 1 year, you usually lose like 5 to 10% of its value. So people have made cases. So now you got to check the law specifically in your state. But once you figure this out in your local market, now you can go out and market people and go, what if I could show you how you could sell the house before the probate's over? Is that something you want to talk to them about? They go, sure, I'd love that. I used to use the word, what if I show you how to cut through the red tape of probate? The key is here, if you can beat the lawyer to that contract, you will dominate. The minute you need that lawyer's permission, it's torture. It's literally like, I just give up. It's like, so once you do that, then you have to instruct the lawyer and go, listen, can you just file a motion to liquidate the property? Now, depending how your state does, all the judge wants to know if it's a valid contract and both parties consent.
Okay.
California's got some crazy laws where they could have to have it appraised. There's some crazy states out there, but your state, which state are you in? What state are you in? You guys are freezing
South Carolina.
Okay. So
Yeah.
I've never heard anything come back on it. So guys, this is why I tell you, you talk to title companies, associated lawyers, you can learn these little things. So when that objection comes up, you actually go, I have something clever that might work, and you just give it a shot. And it's just little lines like that. What if I could show you how to sell your house before the probate's over? Now, here's the key is, say they get $100,000 for the proceeds of the house. It just goes into a checking account for the estate of John Doe, and the money sits there until the court approves it. The key is they don't have to deal with the house and think about it anymore. So if the house is run down and it's vacant, it's absolutely perfect. I think I bought 150 houses with that line alone.
I'm pretty sure from what I saw on Zillow that it is. So
It is what?
it was one of the ones we got in Drive for Dollars. When I called, she was like, "Oh, it's pre-probate."
Yeah. Guys, if you can get through the realtor and the attorney, you win. I like to do it real fast, and then an attorney call. Once I have it under contract, I know I don't need his permission. So
Right.
I'm actually right now being challenged by an attorney in a court of law, and it's like, here's my attorney, you get your attorney. I go, I'm confident, and like I've been through this before. So attorneys tell their clients all the time, you have to wait till the probate's over. Why? They can drag fees on forever. And then, by the way, the attorney's the one that always refers they refer the real estate agent. They'll refer an appraiser. None of that's required by law unless you're in a state that requires that. So do your homework on it. So I'm telling you guys, the probate thing. So repeat back to me. So they go, hey, Brooklyn, listen, I'd love to sell you the house, but it's in probate. So I'm going to wait till it's over. How are you going to respond?
Well, why don't I help you cut through the red tape of probate, and there's actually a way to get around that.
So you want to rephrase it and ask them a question that they have to respond other than a yes, no.
Okay.
So Brooklyn, what if I could show you how you could sell that house before the probate's over so you don't have to deal with it anymore? Is that something you're interested in going further on? Just simple as that. So just say, you got to ask them a question. And sometimes they'll go, no, my lawyer said I have to stick to this. And like, I'm here to tell you, there's a certain percentage of sellers, for some reason, between the realtor and the lawyer, they will never break what they say. Don't fight those people. You're never going to win.
Right.
But there are percentage of people like, hell yeah, I want to get this over with. I don't want to deal with it anymore.
Right.
Great. Can I just get some information from you? Find out if they have a will. That's one of the predominant ways, because wills really make things go fast. In a lot of states, if it's just a husband and a wife, depending on how the title is on it, they can actually, the lawyers just file to exempt it from probate. And a lot of those properties get sold within 30 to 90 days very fast.
Okay.
Almost 50% of the houses in the Florida get sold that way when people die. So if I wait for probate, it's never going to happen because it's not going to finalize on it. So it's, guys, you do not have to wait till probates are done. I've argued one-on-one with attorneys. I'm not a lawyer. Check in your local state laws. California is kind of the whacked one. There's a few others, but I don't know every one of them. There's 3,600 counties. I'm just here to tell you, you guys can buy these deals. I want you to learn every time. So you guys are only like a month in your journey. Every time you learn, you go, okay, I'm not going to make that mistake again. I'll do it. I'll do that again. And that's how you get really good at wholesaling. So you guys mentioned there's a guy, Corey, in the threads here. He started less than 6 months ago. Dude, this guy's doing so many deals, and he's just like a regular hardworking guy. He's like, Rick, I never knew you could make money like this. This is like insane. I've been taught wrong my entire life. Hey, welcome to the party. I didn't start till I was 33. I didn't wake up. And my son has such a head start, and he has like such a clear mind how money works, guys. Just explore it. I'm just telling you, there are no limits. The only limits that placed on you are the ones that you think society makes you do. It's all BS. I'm telling you, like you can make, I'm telling you right now in wholesaling, you can make $100,000 a month, and you can do it within year 1 or 2. I am not kidding. I'm not. And guys, I don't have a big staff. I don't do any of that crap. I've done it all. It's all a big joke. If you take all these companies that do all these big seminars and stuff, and we do 50, I had someone the other day, I'm not even going to call the name out. He says he does 50 deals a month, and it's just him and his partner. You can't do it. It's physically impossible. Like, honestly, guys,
Right.
I do 4 or 5 deals. I make a ton of money. Like we just did a deal yesterday. Wholesale. I put $100 out of the pocket. We're making $53,000. I've been doing this 20 years. It never goes away. Was it tough the first year? It sucked. Like, I didn't know what I was doing. I made so many mistakes. You guys are on the right path. Just keep doing what you're doing. It'll work. So you've walked away with another skill set today. Go ahead.
Really quick. One last question since you're the probate guys.
Yeah.
How hard are you marketing them? Like, how aggressive are you going?
Simple.
I know it's a more sensitive
Real
topic.
simple.
Like,
you send them a letter, which I share with you, my letter in freewholesaling.com. Get the
Right.
probate
Yeah.
list, try to get it from the court system, either online or in person, and just mail them a simple letter. So I do a letter and then like what we call a warm call. That's all you need to do. And then if they don't respond, to decide if you want to do letter number 2 or not. And then put them in like a regular postcard or something like that. And then, but
Okay.
speed kills in probate. And the really cool thing, it's not expensive. It's very like, I think we spend like $125 a month to market to our probates. And honestly, I've made some insane checks. Like, unto the point I was almost embarrassed at the closing. I'm like, can you just double close it? Because I don't like a 6-figure assignment's embarrassing, like on a regular single family home. But I get people like I don't want to deal with the house. I don't want to do this. And I can tell you, I did some probates when I was young. I didn't even know how I found probates, guys, is I sat down with my CPA. He goes, how the hell did you make this much money on this deal? I go, I don't know. This a guy's wife died and he says he wants to get rid of the house. He goes, find out how to do more of those. So I took 3 months and all I did was go to every probate court and I studied. And honestly, I knew as much as a lawyer did. If you really want to know something, you'll learn it.
Right.
And I just learned how to overcome everyone's objections, and I learned how to get lists, and I just pushed and I helped people out. And it was like, I did hundreds of deals just doing probates alone. And you know what? My average, I got 3 times the profit on a probate on a regular wholesale deal. So here's the secret though. Probates, like, you're not going to do 10 a month. It doesn't work that way. And you can't scale it. You can't do 15 counties. It's it's logistically impossible. Every county has a different process on how they collect their
Right.
probate data, and they'll
Okay.
drive you nuts. I work 3 counties because we don't want to drive ourselves nuts. And you think you're leaving another country the way they do probates. It's ridiculous.
Right.
In the same state, 10 miles from each other. That's what they
Right.
do. So you guys got it. Like, if you want to do probates, do it. Like the thing I tell people when they do probates, just keep doing them. Even if you don't get a phone call and you don't get an answer, and give it 1 year. And after 1 year, if you don't do a deal, then I agree with you. Stop.
Would you door
Most
knock
people,
a probate?
that's a
Or
little challenging. I think that's a little much, but that's a
okay.
personal call. It's not. Listen, I said for years I'm not going to cold call him, and then I brought my son in the business. He goes, "Give me the damn phone." And all of a sudden, our deals went through the roof because I found out realtors were cold calling him. I go, well, that's not fair.
Right.
So I'm not I'm not a big cold caller, and I give huge props to people that got the guts to cold call, because it's not the easiest thing in the world to do. My son had like a natural knack to it. Like he still to this day will cold call anyone. He doesn't care. It's like, if you learn not to care what people think of you, like I always tell people at the end of the day, if they're not going to your funeral, don't care what they think, because it doesn't matter. So you have to care what your family thinks. Don't get me wrong, but please don't take the journey. If they're not on the journey you want to go on to, do not sign up for it. I constantly have families still to this day tell me, you still doing that risky thing called wholesaling? I'm like, yes. And they're the reason why I fly you guys all the way across the country, take care of you at everything. Like, I'm the man when it happens on that, but like when it comes down to it, that's like risky. And then when I was teaching my
Right.
son, it was like, don't. So actually, you guys know, Zach went to college because I come from a long line of educators, like high educators. And I always knew my kids are brutally smart. Like, I'm dumb as a rock when it comes to books. I'm just not, I'm a street learner. That's why I'm so good at this. I never fit in school. I never understood it. I like the party. I like to have fun. I didn't understand so I went and got a finance degree. I was like, why are you getting a finance degree? I want to know about money. I thought I wanted to be a stockbroker. And then I learned like that sucks. You sit behind a desk all day.
Right.
So, but I went up, sit behind a desk for like 12 years doing a job I hated. And that's how I got into this. So don't wait till the point you get so frustrated, guys, that you hit a wall and you're like, okay, I got to make this work. So the earlier you could start, the better. And it's tough in the beginning. And I'm just like, you guys are just starting out. I'm just keep doing it. It only took my son about 120 days ago. Holy crap. This is amazing. He goes, I just made more money on one deal than I'll make the next 3 years working my job at the grocery store. I go, I told you. And then when he went away to college, he recruited his entire dorm room and turned it into a call center.
That's awesome.
And he's like, Dad, he goes, can you come up here? I need like 10 grand. I go, yeah. I just like, and we had like so much fun doing it. And to this date, all his friends are like, how do you do that? It's like they all think it's like a scam. It's not a scam. You just got to put the
Right.
work. So
Right.
I love what you guys are doing. Just keep doing it. I'm telling you, you're going to wind up just like Corey did, just like the rest. And the opportunity, I'm not going to say it's going to get easier over the next 18 months. It's just, you're going to see a huge psychological shift in your sellers. Unfortunately, is going to take time, but we can't sit around and wait for it. We got to make money today, and we need to figure out the best way to do it.
Right.
And
Right.
figure out how to block these morons.
Yeah. Well, we
So,
appreciate it. We
okay,
definitely
guys,
appreciate
Thank
keep
everything.
you.
going, and just, you know where to get us on the live. Okay.
Yep.
Great. Thank you.
Awesome. Okay. Rebecca, you there?
Hi, Rick. I am
How you doing?
good. Hey, so I had a couple questions for you
Okay, let's
today.
go. We're in overtime. Let's go.
I know overtime. So, I have a property. It has a house. It's a 3-1, and then attached to it has the same water line. So they want to sell it together. So it's a 2-1.
Okay.
So it is got 6 errors.
Okay.
I've been talking to Primary on the deed, and so all 6 errors are on the title. I've already looked it up. They've all
Okay.
agreed that they want to sell. I've gotten one of them to sign. The other ones, I'm just waiting for all their emails so I can get all the contracts signed to them. As long
Okay.
as one has signed, is it okay to go ahead and look for a cash buyer to start the process, or should I
So
wait?
I would involve your title company in that. So,
Okay,
so how many parties did you say there are? How many hearers?
6.
6. Are they all in agreement?
They are.
Okay. Which one of them's the executor or the PR?
So one of the sisters she lives out of state, so she's allowing the brother who lives in the state where it's at to do all the communication.
Okay. So the most important signature is that person,
Okay,
because they can make or break your deal. Now,
okay,
I'm going to tell you, most title companies are going to require that all 6 of them sign the deed.
mhm,
And sometimes, like, you get 5 degree and one holds out, and there's ways around that. But always start, the personal representative has the power to enter into a contract in the house. So if you get that one, then you can confidently start doing the others. I assume the house is vacant.
it is vacant. Mhm.
Okay. So if you get the PR signature, I think that's a great strategy. And then you got to work up to the closing and get the other 5 signatures, and understanding, like 3 or 4 of them are going to be easy. There's always 1 or 2 that are a pain in the butt. And
Okay,
so try to do like a DocuSign or anything electronically that you can do to make it simpler,
yeah,
because
that's what I've been doing is
yeah,
DocuSign.
some of the
I
mail
was
stuff
like,
is painful. And then if they go, well, I don't have a computer or something, just say, listen, give me your address. Or I don't even do the mailings anymore. The worst case scenario is get a mobile notary. You don't really
mhm,
need it notarized, but have them send the contract to them and tell them where it needs to get signed, and they'll even notarize it. So there's no way to back out. And it's
okay,
typically like $75, and then they'll go set an appointment. They set the appointment, and then they email you back all the documents or mail them. So it's the days of sticking a contract in an overnight back and forth. It winds up being like $30. It's easier just to hire a mobile notary, because they will set the appointment time. They're local, and they'll get it done faster than you're going to get it done by mail. So get the PR to sign, work up the closing, get the other ones done. And if you got to do something like virtually and they're not cooperating with the online e-sig, go to a mobile notary. It's $75. They will get it done. And whenever I get in a pinch, I always rely on the mobile notary.
okay. Okay, well, that's the one question I wanted to get through today. I know you got lots going on, so I will get back on next week.
Okay. What else? Anything
Okay.
else? You got a short question?
No, I think a lot of it is if I can get this first deal tied up, then the next ones will be easier.
So, what kind of profit spread do you think you got on it?
Maybe 15.
Okay. Well, good. Awesome. Is this
Yeah,
your first deal, or?
first one.
Okay. Did you sign up for the June challenge?
I did.
Okay. Well, good.
I
I
did.
want to. So guys, so here's the deal: is the June challenge is going. It's day 1 through 30. We walk you through every detail from start to finish, how to get your first deal. And I'll let you in a little secret. If you want to sign up today, I'll still count you in. I want as many winners as I can humanly get on here, to the point like it hurts. Like, but the thing is, the ultimate prize is I want to get Rebecca her 15 grand. Like, getting PropStream or a shirt for me, it's great, but like you're the ultimate winner. And if I can get you to that, you can see that you can keep, because you're going to keep making progress as you go. So keep doing what you're doing. I think you're doing phenomenal. How did you find that lead, by the way?
Zillow, FSBOs.
Awesome. Okay.
Now
Keep it up.
I do have another one that I
Okay.
did find an FSBO, but the cash buyer that I was working with doesn't want anything on market.
Mm-hmm.
And so they're trying to say that those FSBOs are on market. So
Don't worry about it. Don't worry
I
about it.
know. I'm
What
like,
state?
well,
What state are you in?
continue. Texas.
Awesome.
Well, I'm virtual
Cool.
in Texas.
Awesome. Where do you live?
Alaska.
Okay. Cool. Cool. Okay. Well, have a good one, and I look forward to you in the winner circle. So.
I do too.
Okay.
Since January, I've
Awesome.
been plugging away.
Okay. Keep it going, Rebecca. We'll talk. Okay.
Thank you.
Bye. Guys, so if you're like, what the heck is he talking about, a June challenge? Just to let you know, we have the June challenge. It's out there. Me and Zach want to reward as many people to get their first deal. The ultimate prize is the money in your bank account, but we want to give you the accolades. We got some cool prizes, all sorts of gear and stuff, and we just want to make it fun. And the winners, we're going to pick the ones that really ramped it up, and we're just going to interview you, and we can all learn from each other. So I learn from you guys every day. I know you're learning from me, but like I am open-minded enough to learn everything in this business. I love what's going on with this. So guys, do me a favor, give me a thumbs up before we leave here. If you like the information, do me a favor. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel, Flip with Rick, Zach Ginn and Rick Ginn. And we kind of vary some of the content. I like to kind of be goofy and do some stuff a little bit outside of real estate. And we just talk about families and stuff like that. But then I share our real estate deals, and Zach adds a little bit of financial stuff for you guys to decide what to do with all that wholesaling money. Guys, Rick Ginn, Zach Ginn. And then don't forget Wholesaling Houses for Real. Join our Facebook group. It is the largest going group, and we want to make it the #1 group. You guys can help us pull it off. I appreciate you guys, and I will see you in the next live. Thank you.